Hello classmates, I'm here today to talk about a very important topic, and it's something that we all have in common, and it has to do with education. We all understand the value of an education. Certainly, we're here today seeking a higher level of education. And for our children, we want them to receive a quality education, one that begins in elementary school and lasts throughout their entire educational journey. So I'm here today to talk to you about school choice. I believe that there should be an education option for our children, as well as a tax benefit for those parents that assume the financial responsibility for their children's primary education. Now, in the United States, education is primarily a state and a local responsibility. And the U.S. Department of Education provides the following breakdown for the funding of the South Carolina public schools in 2012. 14.8% was federal, 46.1% state, and 39.2% was local. It's for this reason that I believe that a policy change should take place at the state level. Now today I'm going to talk to you about a problem, and that problem is the public education school system. I'm going to talk to you about a few of the causes, and we'll end out with the solution, which I believe is school choice. So let's get started. The problem is the public school system is not equal throughout the United States. Find the Best is a technology company that's focused on collecting and interpreting data. And they operate startclass.com, which is a research site that compiles data and compares schools. The data is collected from the U.S. Department of Education, with the most recent data being from 2012. So the following statistics that I'm going to share with you have been pulled through research on startclass.com. Now, schools are ranked on a scale up to 100. And my daughter attended public schools in Illinois and Texas. The Illinois schools rate 90, and the Texas schools rank 79. Today we live in South Carolina, and the South Carolina schools rank 65. But StartClass.com allows you to drill down to the most intimate level, that being the schools for which you are specifically zoned. And in our case, Whitesville Elementary rates 55, Berkeley Middle School 34, and Berkeley High School is 52. Now, with the information I've just provided, there should be no misunderstanding as to why we feel a private school is not only the best option, but it's a necessary option. And these tuition costs mean that I'm returning to work in the fall so that we can be able to afford this. Now, the reason I share that little bit of personal information with you is so that perhaps you can recognize that not only the wealthy send their children to a private school, and for some, it is a struggle to meet that additional financial burden. It's a burden that's been placed on us because the public school system is failing our children. Now that we've looked at the problem, I'd like to move into a couple of the causes. Now here's part of the reason. Part of the reason is what is considered an acceptable level of education. And this might surprise you, but according to the South Carolina Judicial Department on December 9th of 2004, the South Carolina Supreme Court upheld that the state constitution requires the General Assembly to provide for the opportunity for each child to receive a minimally adequate level of education. And furthermore, for many, the fact that religion is not allowed in our public school system is problematic. Now, I'd like to begin by addressing minimally adequate. On April 12th of 2010, Susan Stadaline and Shirley Wang, who are both journalists for the Wall Street Journal, they reported that the new federal health care law created millions of newly insured people. And at the current graduation and training rates, our nation can face a shortage of as many as 150,000 doctors in the next 15 years. And their source is the Association of American Medical Colleges. I think we can all agree that we don't get doctors from a minimally adequate education goal. Now, religion is an extremely personal subject, but there are many that believe that teaching evolution without creation as a possible alternative is teaching atheism. And findlaw.caselaw.com is a website that archives summaries of published opinions from the U.S. court system. And it indicates that in the past, the U.S. court system has upheld atheism as a religion. And one such case was in the U.S. Court of Appeals, the Seventh Circuit, and the case was Kaufman versus McCautry back in August of 2005. And I share this information with you because what that tells us is not only that we all hold different values and beliefs, but that we're all legally entitled to those and equally entitled to those. And school choice recognizes our individuality. So now that we talked about a couple of the causes, let's go ahead and move into the solution. The solution is school choice. Elaine Povich, she's a staff writer for USA Today, and she explains in an article from August of 2013 that 13 states had created or expanded tuition tax credits, private school scholarships, or traditional vouchers in 2013. 8 states did so in 2012, and 7 states in 2011. And her source is the National Conference of State Legislators. Gina Smith is a journalist for The State, which is a South Carolina newspaper, and she reported in March of 2012 that a school choice bill had passed the South Carolina House, but that it was unlikely to pass the Senate, and she was right, it did not. But that bill sought to provide up to a $4,000 a year tax deduction for each child enrolled in private schools, or up to a $2,000 a year deduction for expenses for families that homeschool their children. But also, poor and disabled students would have been eligible for private school scholarships, and those who donated to the nonprofits that provided those scholarships could have claimed tax credits. You see, much of South Carolina, our government, they already understand that school choice is an important topic. But we need to garner just a little bit more support. We need to let them know that it is extremely important. And you can go online to the South Carolina State Government website and click on the Legislature tab, because there's an option to send a message to all of your state senators and representatives, letting them know not only that you support school choice, but that you want their support. So now that we talked about the solution, I'd like to just close by recapping what we discussed today. And that was beginning with the fact that there is a huge misconception that those parents that send their children to a private school believe that they're too good for a public school education. The problem, as we learned, is that our public school education system in many cases is not good enough for our children. We talked about a couple of the causes, and one is what is considered an acceptable level of education. And we all know that a minimally acceptable level of education is too low of an educational goal. But we also know that the lack of the religious aspect in our public schools is problematic to many. And finally, we talked about the solution being school choice. And there are many states already that offer a school choice program with a tax relief benefit for parents. And what that does is it removes the double taxation on those alternative education expenses for those parents that are making the best choice for their children in terms of education and learning environment. You know, today's children are America's future, and so we need to make sure that we're helping them be the best that they can be, and that begins with a solid educational foundation. Thank you.